Hey there, Flo here. As we've just released the serials feature, at least in its first version, I'm making a quick video tutorial to help you navigate what we've built, what's there, what's not there yet that we are working on, and overall get you equipped to update your work on Quibble. So I've created a sample book just for the purpose of this demo, and that's the book we'll use throughout this tutorial. So this is the book page as you traditionally know it. So this assumes you have a book already, a book or a web series, anything that you've already published on Quibble and that you'd like to either edit any of its chapters or publish a new chapter. So to get started, you will go to your avatar here and you will head to My Submissions. So we're working on updating the name of this menu here because because it still refers to submissions, but this is also where you will be able to edit a published work. So you see here, Test Serials Demo is the book that we've just seen a second ago, and you have a button here that says Manage Book. Now, if you click on Manage Book, you will land on your works dashboard, and this is exactly where you'll be able to edit its content. So if you scroll down, there are 3 tabs. So the first one is where you'll find your chapters and where you will be able to edit their content. The second tab is metadata about your work. This is not yet editable, so this is something that we'll add for you also to rework the synopsis, the teaser, the genres, the moods, and more later. And you have here a general chat where you can ask questions to our editorial team and overall discuss about your entire book. So if I go back to chapters, I can see here all my chapters. I've already attempted at recording a video, so the state is not completely brand new, but it doesn't matter. We'll still go through everything as it was new. So essentially, for each of your chapters, you can see a number of things. So the chapter number, the title of the chapter, the teaser, the time to read, the version. I'm going to cover that in a second, and when this chapter was published. You can also see here the status of your chapter. So I'm also going to cover this in a second, and also you have essentially for now 2 buttons. One, a button that lets you preview the chapter. So either if it's published right now, you can see the published version, or if you've created a new draft, you can also preview the draft afterwards. So let's go ahead and edit chapter 2 by clicking on edit here. So here is the page where you can edit its content. So there's a number of things here. First, it lets you know that you are drafting version 2 of your chapter. If you don't want to edit a new draft, you can discard the draft. Be careful because this is permanent. So if you've worked on editing a new version, don't discard the draft because then it's lost. And otherwise, you can edit essentially 3 things: the title, the teaser, and the content of the chapter. So the chapter editor here is a rich editor. So it's similar to editors you can find on other platforms if you've published elsewhere. It's very rich, lets you do quite a number of things. One thing that we know, for example, that with many options might be a bit difficult to do is to keep consistency across your chapters. For example, for the font size or just the font itself, and so on and so forth. So we are working on a feature that lets you copy the style from one chapter to the other. If you edit or if you add a new chapter that we'll see a bit later, just to make sure that you keep consistency across your work. So there, you can play with the different options. You can mark something as a heading. You can change the font. So we don't have a large number of fonts available currently. Mainly Georgia, Arial, Times New Roman, and monospace. And also to know that it's important to know that in the reader, readers have the option to customize their reading experience and to choose a different font, choose a different background color, line spacing, and paragraph spacing as well. So you know, there's an option as well to keep the original styling as you would have chosen when editing your chapter, but also that's something that, you know, just to be aware of, that, you know, people can essentially customize their reading differently. So I'm not going to cover all the available options. You have, for example, here, if you like to, you know, have an indentation for your paragraphs, you can change the font color, the indentation, and so on and so forth. And you can also add an image. So this is fully supported. You can resize it. You can also, you know, indent it differently as well if you want to. And that's it for images. You can also, I mean, that's a little bit in the experimental territory, but, you know, you can also copy paste from somewhere else. It should mostly keep the style, but, you know, as with everything, if you copy paste from, say, a web page, you might drag in a bunch of style that you might not want within your book. So yeah, this is something that you can do, but, you know, that's a little bit less predictable, let's say, depending on how complex the overall styling of the page is. So let's go ahead and add an update here. So here's an update, right? And you can also, by the way, put it in full screen if you want to, you know, work in a more immersive manner. And as soon as you change something within the page, be that the title, the teaser, or the content, it will be saved automatically after a couple seconds. So if I'm adding, you know, just a change here, you will see here exactly it's saving, the changes are saved. So just, you know, for your own peace of mind that everything is always saved as it should. So when you're done editing your chapter, you can either save it as a draft. So if I save it as a draft now, and I go back to the list of chapters, I can see here draft version 2. I can keep editing, or I can also preview, you know, its current state. And once you are ready to submit your chapter, you can go here, submit for review. So much like submissions, chapters also go through a review process on our end by our editorial team. Review time typically will be fast since, you know, this is a new feature. Of course, you know, there might be delays also depending on, you know, how many chapter updates we receive, but it will go through review for each chapter submitted. So let's go ahead and submit it, submit for review here. And once it's submitted, it's final. So that means final, meaning you cannot edit it anymore. It's in the hands of our team, and they will then be able to review your changes and accept the changes to allow you to publish them, or they might request a revision. So let's go ahead and approve those changes. If you refresh, you will see here exactly, so the changes are ready to be published. You can, you know, preview once more just to be sure things are the way you want them to be, and we can go ahead and publish them. So just to show the comparison, if I go back to the book page, chapters here, so I see, well, let's just quickly refresh chapters. So this is still the previous version of the chapter, so it's of course not yet published, right? Chapter cover art. Now, if I exit and go back to the list of chapters, I can publish now. And the chapter published successfully, and the changes are live now. So if now we go back to the book page, to the list of chapter, we can see this is the new title that I added, or that I edited, and your changes are now live. So what is not there yet is that we will be adding shortly is just an email confirmation that your chapter has been accepted for publication, or whether there's a revision that's needed. So our editors can also request a revision, in which case you will receive, if I go back to here, in which case, you know, you might receive a message in the chat here with the requested changes. So this chat here, just to know, for you to know, so this is dedicated to the chapter. So you have one sort of chat room or chat box per chapter, meaning that if you engage in a conversation here, this conversation will not be available in other chapters. This is really specific to your chapter. The second thing to know is the moment you click on edit, it will automatically create a draft. Now, if you don't want a draft and you just want to revert it to just the published state, you have to discard the draft, right? So yeah, the moment you click on edit, a draft is created. And that is about it for editing chapters. Of course, we're working, it's a new feature, and there's just so many things that we can and of course will do. But of course, there's a few quality of life features that we'll be adding down the line that might not be here. I mentioned, for example, the chat notification as well. Will also allow you to automatically publish once it's been accepted, right? You'll also be able to schedule the publication to a specific date, of course, with a provision of probably a couple days or up to perhaps a week, just to make sure that if you submit a chapter for review and there might be revisions or something to correct, that you do have time to correct them before your desired publishing date. So this is something that we're working on, and we'll engage with you to find the sweet spot and how to essentially orchestrate this the best way possible. Now, let's go ahead and add a new chapter. So we have here 6 chapters. Let's add a new one. So we'll end up in the same, basically in the same screen as before. You will have just an untitled title to put here, and then everything else is empty. So here you can do essentially 3 things. You can start writing your chapter yourself. So chapter 1 to 3. You can copy paste from somewhere. So that also works. And you can also import a file. So we currently support Markdown or a docx, so Microsoft Word. Or if you download from Google Docs, for example, you can download in a docx file. So let's go ahead and choose a sample chapter that I have here. And here it will automatically detect the title if it's a heading. And that's it, right? So the teaser, of course, is something that you'll have to provide yourself, but by and large, it respects the formatting that is in the document. So that's something that you can do. Just maybe you're keeping your work in different files on Google Doc, or you have a single file for your entire work, and you can just extract a chapter and then import it. Or you could also, in this case, just copy paste from Google Doc directly in here and end up essentially with the same formatting. That's it. So then the process is essentially the same as before. A teaser, a teaser. You submit for review, and then this is in the hands of our team. The title a bit misleading, but this was the title of the chapter, chapter 2 cover art. Same thing, you can preview it, and otherwise wait that our team accepts or asks for a revision. So we can try it. For example, if they ask for a revision, I'm just going to So now if I refresh the page, here you see needs revision, and then if you go into edit, you will see the message from our team that typically will point where there is something to address or change or update if there's a formatting issue, or anything that would warrant a revision. In which case you can edit it and or ask for more information if you're unsure, and then resubmit for review, and then essentially the same thing as before. Our team will approve, and if I just again refresh, it's ready to publish. So here also you can see you have you can access your chapters with a specific status. So you can see all the chapters that have been approved, for example, and all those that are in draft and review that need revision. So just to help you, and you can also search a particular title here. I don't know, front, right? And then you can a bit more easily find your chapters. That's it. This covers what is available already today. I said this is a very large feature. There is just so much more that we are currently building around it, and that is still missing. Typically, I've mentioned, so this assumes you have published already on Quibble, and this lets you edit your current work. For newly submitted work, we are also reworking the submission process with two major changes. The first one is to make it much simpler as before. So typically, this will not involve a multi-stage process. You will simply be able to create your whole submission, provide your cover art, provide your chapters, and we're also gonna not move away from EPUB, but you will have two options. You can provide an EPUB as before, and you'll be able to also create your chapters in the same way here by importing a file or by simply copy pasting in an editor, or just writing it by yourself if you want to in the submission. So this is going to come very soon. We hope to have this released already this week, by the end of the week, and that will be the next big change that will essentially allow new folks to submit their work on Quibble without having to create an EPUB. There's also a number of things that we're adding also very shortly. So typically, you currently cannot delete a chapter, nor so we will not let you delete a chapter, but we'll let you archive a chapter just to make sure nothing is lost. But if you wanted to reduce the number of chapters today, that is not possible. So if you have really major changes to make, the best way is to simply re-edit each chapter one after the other, and then once they're all ready to publish them one after the other. We're also going to add a publish in bulk, so publish all your available chapter all at once. But we've decided to already release what we have today, so at least it lets you update your work, and we're going to keep adding more feature in the future to to improve your quality of life and give you as much flexibility as possible. So that's it. A thank you for for staying until the end of this video if you did, and hopefully this lets you get started on updating your work on Quibble. And if you have any question, any suggestion, any bug that you found, please let us know directly in Discord or otherwise, right? And we'll make sure to address that the best way we can. Alrighty, thank you very much and take care. Bye-bye.